What'd he say? I ask. You can't, says Peter. He holds out his hand into the seemingly empty space. There's a sharp zap, and he jerks it back. Some kind of electric field throws you back on the roof. Always worried about our safety, I say. Even though Senna has shown Peter the roof, I wonder if we're supposed to be up here right now, so late and alone. I've never seen tributes on the training center roof before, but it doesn't mean we're not being taped. Do you think they're watching us now? Maybe, he admits. Come see the garden. On the other side of the dome, they've built a garden with flower beds and potted trees. From the branches hang hundreds of wind chimes, which account for the tinkling I heard. Here in the garden, on this windy night, it's enough to drown out two people who are trying not to be heard. Peter looks at me expectantly. I pretend to examine a blossom. We were hunting in the woods one day, hidden, waiting for game. I whisper. You and your father? He whispers back. No, my friend Gail. Suddenly all the birds stopped singing at once, except one, as if it were giving a warning call. And then he saw her. I'm sure it was the same girl. A boy was with her. Their clothes were tattered. They had dark circles under their eyes from no sleep. They were running as if their lives depended on it, I say. For a moment I'm silent as I remember how the sight of this strange pair, clearly not from District 12, fleeing through the woods immobilized by us. Later we wondered if we could have helped them escape. Perhaps we might have concealed them if we'd moved quickly. Gail and I were taken by surprise, yes, but we're both hunters. We know how animals look at bay. We knew the pair was in trouble as soon as we saw them, but we only watched. The hovercraft appeared out of nowhere, I continued to Peter. I mean, one moment the sky was empty and the next it was there. It didn't make a sound, but they saw it. A net dropped down on the girl and carried her up fast, so fast like the elevator. They shot some sort of spear through the boy. It was attached to a cable and they hauled him up as well. But I'm certain he was dead. We heard the girl scream once, the boy's name, I think. Then it was gone, the hovercraft. Vanished into thin air, and the birds began to sing again, as if nothing had happened. Did they see you? Peter asked. I don't know. We were under a shell of rock, I reply. But I do know there was a moment after the bird call, but before the hovercraft, where the girl had seen us. She'd locked eyes with me and called out for help, but neither Gail or I had responded. You're shivering, says Peter. The wind in the story have blown all the warmth from my body. The girl screams. Had it been her last? Peter takes off his jacket and wraps it around my shoulders. I start to take a step back, but then I let him, deciding for a moment to accept both his jacket and his kindness. A friend would do that, right? They were from here, he asks, and he secures a button at my neck. I nod. They'd had the Capitol look about them, the boy and the girl. Where do you suppose they were going? He asks. I don't know that, I say. District 12 is pretty much the end of the line. Beyond us, there's only wilderness. If you don't count the ruins of District 13 that still smolder from the toxic bombs. They show it on television occasionally just to remind us. Or why they would leave here? Hamish had called the Avoxes traitors. Against what? It could only be the Capitol, but they had everything here. No cause to rebel. I'd leave here, Peter blurts out. Then he looks around nervously. It was loud enough to hear above the chimes. He laughs. I'd go home now if they let me. But you have to admit the food's prime. He's covered again. If that's all you'd heard, it would just sound like the words of a scared tribute, not someone contemplating the unquestionable goodness of the Capitol. It's getting chilly. We better go in, he says. Inside the dome, it's warm and bright. His tone is conversational. Your friend Gail, He's the one who took your sister away at the reaping. Yeah. Do you know him? I asked. Not really. I heard the girls talk about him a lot. I thought he was your cousin or something. You favor each other, he says. No, we're not related, I say. Peter nods, unreadable. Did he come to say goodbye to you? Yes, I say, observing him carefully. So did your father. He bought me cookies. Peter raises his eyebrows as if this is news, but after watching him lie so smoothly, I don't give this much weight. Really? Well, he likes you and your sister. Think he wishes he had a daughter instead of a house full of boys. The idea that I might ever have been discussed around the dinner table at the bakery fire, just in passing in Peter's house, gives me a start. It must have been when the mother was out of the room. He knew your mother when they were kids, says Peter. Another surprise, but probably true. Oh yes, she grew up in town, I say. It seems impolite to say she never mentioned the baker, except to compliment his bread. We're at my door. I give back his jacket. See you in the morning, then. See you, he says, and walks off down the hall. When I open my door, the red-haired girl is collecting my unitard and boots from where I left them on the floor before my shower. I want to apologize for possibly getting her in trouble earlier, but I remember I'm not supposed to speak to her unless I'm giving her an order. Oh, sorry, I say. I was supposed to get those back to Senna. I'm sorry. Can you take them to him? She avoids my eyes, gives a small nod, and heads out the door. I set out to tell her I was sorry about dinner, but I know that my apology runs much deeper. That I'm ashamed I never tried to help her in the woods. That I let the Capitol kill the boy and mutilate her without lifting a finger. Just like I was watching the games. I kick off my shoes and climb under the covers in my clothes. The shivering hasn't stopped. Perhaps the girl doesn't even remember me, but I know she does. You don't forget the face of the person who was your last hope. I pull the covers up over my head, as if this will protect me from the red-headed girl who can't speak. But I can feel her eyes staring at me, piercing through walls and doors and bedding. I wonder if she'll enjoy watching me die.